Thanks to EA for the free game code. Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome to the start of a brand new series here on the channel. So I decided I wanted to try doing something a little bit different this year and getting into college football fully. I was thinking about doing it last year, but I kind of ran out of time to do it, so kind of excited to get into it this year. And as you can tell by my face cam, we are going to be taking on the Akron Zips. Now, there was actually a four-way tie for who we were supposed to do. It came down to these four teams: Akron, Kennesaw State, Kent State, and New Mexico State. And basically I put it up to a wheel spin, and the wheel spin, 3 of the 4 spins, because I did a 4-spin one, basically 3 of those 4 spins came to Akron, so I guess that makes sense that we're going to go to at least I know where Akron is, because I still don't know where Kennesaw State is as of this recording. So at least I know Akron is in Ohio, so we are going to be taking over them and hopefully turning them into a pretty good team. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of recruiting we're going to need to do, because we are a pretty shitty team, because we are going to be a 0.5 stars of a team. So I don't really expect us to be good for a while, but I'm hoping that we could obviously do some really good recruiting and pick up some good players. Obviously, it's going to take a long time to get these good players and stuff, because we have to build up the reputation and all that, but I am excited to get into this. Now, I prefaced this in the start of this first episode. I do not know anything really at all about college football. I've played a little bit of this game, like I've been doing like an off YouTube series basically. And I kind of understand how it works in terms of recruiting stuff and all that. But there's a lot of stuff about football I don't know. So I don't, for instance, know what like red shirting people is and all that stuff. So if anybody wants to explain that to me, or over these next few episodes help me with that type of stuff, that would be very appreciated, just because, like I said, I don't really know too much about college football. I do know about football and how like plays work and stuff like that, for instance, but I don't know, for instance, like even what a blitz is and stuff like that. So it would be very helpful if somebody could help me out with that, because once I get to learn all these things, then I should be more familiar with it, and then we could do this as a yearly thing with like all our franchise modes that we do. So anyways, let's get into this. So we're going to do a single player. We're not going to put it as the cloud. And we're also going to go to active roster, which will load in, I think it was like 11,000 people, right? Yeah, over 11,560 players. So a lot of players get loaded into this. We're going to do that just so it's more accurate. And then obviously the players that we could pick up aren't real players, I'm pretty sure. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of generated names we get and all that type of thing. Now, one thing I also want to mention is I was looking at the community tab post, and it was actually mentioned to me that basically that there is still some bugs in this mode. So I'm not too sure if we should wait a bit until those bugs are addressed before we actually start simulating in the series, or if we could actually go ahead and it's okay to kind of still play with those problems being in the game. So just let me know if those problems that are in the game are stuff that we could avoid, or if we actually have to wait a little bit before we continue on with the series. But this first episode is just going to be more of a setup episode, showing you guys what's out there for different options that we could bring into the school or try and target. But yeah, it's going to definitely be an interesting series and see if we could actually build the school into something. Like I said, we're going to be 0.5 stars of a team, which is not very good. So I'm going to leave the skill level to freshman, because like I said, I'm not very familiar with this type of stuff. Obviously, if we get better at this down the road, we could turn this all the way up, but freshman is where we're going to leave it. We are also going to turn off coach firing, because I just don't want to be... Wait, what does it say? The setting controls whether or not any coach can be fired on or off. CPU coaches only, CPU only, or not at all. Oh, I guess that just means if we could get fired as a coach and stuff. I'm going to just turn that off, because I don't really want to get fired and all that, because obviously we're trying to just stay with this team till the end, so to speak. Everything else, I don't really know what a lot of this means, other than obviously injuries and stuff like that, I understand. So I'll keep all that stuff on. But if you guys think there's anything we should address in terms of these settings, I think we probably could address it afterwards in like next episode. So if there's anything we should change around a little bit with these settings, let me know. And then we could definitely get into that. Obviously, we're not going to turn on auto recruiting. Auto progress players, I think, is fine. And that should be good. Okay, perfect. And yeah, as I said, we are going to be taking on Akron, which means we are going to be going all the way to the top of this list of teams. Basically, the teams I gave you guys options for were all 0.5 stars to 2.5 stars, because I don't want to do anybody too good. So we're going to be starting pretty much from the bottom of the barrel with the Akron Zips. As you can see, 61 across the board. But if we look at the other teams that we had options to do, there is Kennesaw was down here. It's alphabetical order. Kennesaw was right here. They are a 1-star team. They're a little bit better than the team that we're currently doing. There's also Kent State that's also half a star, but they are technically better than the Akron Zips, so that's not great. And then the New Mexico Aggies, all the way down here, were also a 1-star team. Definitely the best of the 4 teams that we had available to us, but we are going to be taking on Akron. And definitely it's going to be a tough first task for us to do, but I'm excited to just kind of see what this is like. Obviously, we can kind of take the slow approach. We could obviously bring in some okay players early on, maybe like 1 or 2-star players, but I don't think we're going to ever get a chance to really get those 4-star players for multiple years, if that's even a thing that you could get to at some point. But anyways, let's go with Akron here. And then we are going to be going with head coach as our option, of course, because we aren't doing offensive or defensive coordinator. I like being the head coach. And we will create a new coach. Obviously, we could go with the existing head coach, which is Joe Moorhead. I don't know if that's the real coach. I know there is some real coaches in this game, but we are going to go create new. And we are going to go with a recruiter, I think, because I was looking into this a little bit more. I think recruiter is probably the fun one to do just because, obviously, we kind of just want to recruit people. That's, I think, the most exciting thing about this franchise mode, in my opinion, is just recruiting people, getting in new people for your school, and I like recruiting a lot. So I think keeping with the recruiter is probably the way we're going to go. And that will load up things here. Now we're going to obviously have to rename our coach and kind of customize him a little bit. I don't really know anything about playbooks and stuff like that, so if you guys could explain certain playbooks and stuff to me, that'd be nice. Just because, like I said, I am very unfamiliar with like how certain things work in terms of football. Like, I don't even play Madden really anymore. I did play Madden a few years ago, but haven't played with it in a few years. And I have played a little bit of this game, so I understand some stuff, but other things, it's just like, what the heck does that even mean? So it would be nice to kind of understand this game perfectly, so that way I don't have to ask as much questions. So we'll do SnipeNScore, of course. Offensive playbook's automatically set to, I think, and defense is automatically set to the old head coach's stuff, so I think we probably should just leave this the same, to be honest. I don't know what alma mater even is. So if somebody could explain that even. Pipeline, I guess that's where we're getting players from. Is Akron, the Akron Zips actually in Ohio, or is it a different team? Akron, let me see. Because if it's in Alabama instead, I'd be like confused. But Akron Zips, where are they? They are, is it Akron, Ohio? Yeah, it is Akron, Ohio. Okay, good. I wasn't too sure if there was multiple Akrons in the States, but that's interesting. Pipeline, I guess we'll just leave it like that. Demeanor, stance. Yeah, all the rest of this stuff, I honestly don't know what any of it means really, so I'll just keep it the same. Appearance, I don't think this matters too much, but obviously since I'm white, I'm going to make myself a white guy, so we'll just go for something basic. We don't really need to customize him too much. So we'll just go with like the most basic ass white dude here, because that's pretty much what I am. That guy looks a little bit more not white. Kind of want to find somebody that looks maybe like me a little bit. This guy's got too full of a beard, to be honest. A little bit more patchy. Yeah, this one is not great. I don't really have a neck beard. Don't have a mustache. Let's go for this dude, I guess. Sure. I don't really care too much. And in physique, it's kind of funny how in physique, though, you can't go to anything less than 220 pounds when you're 6 feet tall. So I guess I'll have to go to 220, even though I only weigh 166 pounds. So, and we'll probably, let's just keep it muscular, I guess, since I've been going to the gym enough. I could put that as that. It doesn't really matter too much, but, and then in gear, what is there for gear? There's just torso and lower body. Okay, no hats or anything. Let's just go continue on that. Don't really care too much about the customization on that part. All right, so let's sign our 4-year contract with Akron, but obviously, like I said, we will be staying with them right till the end in the series. We aren't going to probably be changing any teams, and since I got a pre-order bonus just because of my affiliation with EA, I do get 100 coach points because of that, which is kind of nice, so we could use those right away, but I might just wait. In this episode, we're going to take only a look at a few things. We are going to probably look at the recruiting board. We're going to look at our current roster probably as well on paper. And then I'll also look at the upgrade coach skills thing so you guys can see if we should already start working on upgrading things or not. So let's start by looking at our own roster, what we have currently, and what this team is going to need. I think it's going to show what we need when we get to the recruiting area, but let's just take a look anyways at what we have on this roster. So I'll remove my face so you guys can see a little bit more detail a little bit. But let's start off with our quarterbacks. We have Ben Finley, who's a 74, which is not that bad. But he's a senior, so he probably is getting close to leaving his team, I would assume. I'm not too sure how to tell how many years these guys have left on their contracts, if there's really even contracts in this, but he's a senior. We have a couple of freshmen in Brookhart and Rogau. What a name. And then we have another freshman. What does the RS mean? That's one question I have for you guys, because I don't know what RS means, so just wondering about that. But we do have 4 quarterbacks. Halfback, which I'm pretty sure is HB, we have Taven Curry, who's a 79. Damn, some actually solid overalls to start. So Taven Curry. We have Chris G as a 75. Jordan Gant as a 75. Cam Macon as a 73. And Marquise Williams as a 72. In terms of fullbacks, we have only one fullback, that being Pat Pope. What a name. 67 overall, so not the best fullback, but he is a junior. I actually didn't take a look at the halfbacks. What's their status? 4 of them are juniors and 1's a freshman. That's not too bad, to be honest. I don't know what that RS still means, and somebody's going to mention it. I'm going to be like, yeah, I should have known that, but whatever. Wow, we have a lot of wide receivers. God damn. I mean, I guess you do need a lot of wide receivers, but we have 3, 6, 9, 10 wide receivers on this team. So that's probably something we don't really need too much of. I mean, there will be some probably leaving the team after the first year, but still, that's a lot of them. We have Alex Adams, who's a 76. Israel Polk, who's a 74. Tim Greer, our junior, I should say, who's a 71. Miles Walker, 68. Cameron Montero, who's a 65. Brandon Hills, who's a 62. Paul Davis, 60. Traveris Fletcher as a 57. Goodwin is a 57. And Jean-Louis III, 51 overall. So, yeah, that's a lot of wide receivers. Some of them are juniors, some of them are freshmen, and then we have 1 sophomore, so I think that guy's... Sophomore is the second year, right? Like, junior is first year, or no, freshman's first year. Sophomore, I feel like it's second year, but what is junior? Maybe junior second year and sophomore's near the end? I honestly don't know. So... but anyways, there's our wide receivers. Tight ends, we have 5 of them. A lot of them are sophomores. We have Jake Newell, who's an 83. I think he's the best player on our team, it looked like. We also have Connor Kravik, who's a 76. Max Wisner, 73. Emmett Rhodes, who's a 68. And Khalil Witherspoon, who's a 64. All right. In terms of left tackle, we have a couple juniors and some freshmen and a sophomore. Dane Shore, 69. Daryl Johnson, Daryl? Yeah, it might be Daryl. Daryl Johnson Jr., 69. Ryan Oliver, 59. Cameron Peak, who's a 57. And Nick Stopiak, who's a 52. We head to left guard, I think that is. Let me think. If I'm wrong with the player types or positioning and all that, please let me know. I'm pretty sure it's left guard, though. Kalen Davis, 72 overall. We also have Jaden Brown Demery, 65. Kerry Whitney, who's a 63. And AJ George is a 53. We head to centers, I think is what C is, I would assume, just because center in all sports is C, so I would assume this is center. Delvin Morris is a 71. We have Kenneth McManus, what number is that? The 4th? Yeah, I think that's the 4th. I don't really know Roman numerals, but he's a 61. And we have also Max Mobley. We head to right guard. We have a couple of them. We have Amari Archer, who's a 70, and we also have Colin Lyons, who's a 69. We also have for right tackle 4 guys. We have Masai King. We also have Jonas Mann. We have Daniel Sheldon and Alan Devlin. All right. So a couple of actually solid overalls with like these 72 overall guys, but obviously we're going to need to do a lot of work, it looks like, on this team, which is not a surprise. I don't know what this stands for. I think it's some sort of defensive guard, left end defensive guard. Maybe that's what LEDG stands for. If I'm right on that, please let me know. I think that's left end defensive guard, and that's right end defensive guard, but I honestly don't know. We have Cyrus Durham. We also have Devon Frazier. We also have Javon Frazier. Are these 2 guys brothers? I would assume so, based on their names. Javon and Devon, they got to be brothers. There's no reason why they wouldn't be, but that's kind of neat. I don't think I would see any brothers on this team. We also have Eric Shepard. For right and defensive guard, I'll call it Dextrell Brown. We also have Cam Cheatham, Ty Watkins, and Jontrell Mixon. Okay. Defensive tackle, we have Kewan Murphy. We also have Ronald Hull, Kevin Newberry, Elijah Davis, and Cameron Lehman. We head to, I don't know what these stand for, Sam, Mike, and Will. They just sound like 3 guys, so if somebody can explain that as well, please let me know. But for the Sams, we have Austin Wondolowski, I think that's pronounced like, Devin Reeves, and Jason Hawker. For the Mikes, we have Gage Summers, Cam Davidson, Gavin James, Rich Benenge, something like that, Brian Corbett. A lot of these guys are apparently getting some growth. Summers is a 77, so that's pretty solid. I actually know he's a 75, but I guess he has a little bit of a boost, so that jumps him up a bit. For the Wills, we have Shamond Cooper. We also have Melvin Spriggs and Marcus Boswell. And then for the cornerback, I think it is, we have Alex Branch, Ben Kamara, Amon Greenwood, Jamie Lucas, Malcolm DeWalt IV, I think it is. Aisa Jarman, I think that's pronounced. So there's our cornerbacks. Also, there's dev traits on them. So this guy has an impact dev trait. I forgot about the dev traits and mentioning mentals and stuff like that. But some guys have dev traits. Other guys do not. We also have for our full safeties, we have Mekhi Flowers? I don't know. DeMarco Johnson, DJ Stepney, Derek Hoover, and Tyquan Wallace. For the... what is SS again? Is that just normal safety? I think it's just normal safety. We have Justin Anderson, Damon David, and Roderick Hunter. For the kicker, we have Adam Samaha. We also have Matthew Schramm. And we also have Owen Wiley. And for our punter, we have Joseph Castle. So that's what our roster looks like, just in case you guys wanted to see that more in depth. Obviously, a lot of work to go. We have some okay overall guys. But I'm not too sure how much of them are only here for a year before we start to lose some. So, obviously, starting off as not that great of a team, except for Jake Newell. And I would assume after 1 year, if Newell's able to, he might want to go to some other school. But I don't know if that's even a thing yet. But there's that anyways. So there's our roster. Let's also briefly go over to here and go to upgrade coach skills, and then we'll take a look at the recruiting because that's going to be the most interesting part, of course. But the coach skills stuff, obviously right now, since we are a recruiter, we only have recruiter open to us at the moment. We have to level up in order to unlock these other things. So we could already put some points into recruiter if you guys think it's a smart thing to do early on. We have 110 points because of the pre-order bonus. So we could easily just put a bunch into each of these categories, which will help us basically take less time to scout people, which I think is probably pretty helpful early on. Or we could just accumulate all these coins until the off season and then use them accordingly on our coach abilities. But for right now, we could only do them on this. And eventually at some point, then we could think about which areas we also want to go to. So I'm not too sure exactly what else to do other than recruiter. Obviously, some of these other ones are pretty good. Like you have strategist, who's good, or strategist, I guess it's pronounced as. We also have tactician, architect. Eventually, we'll get other ones like motivator and stuff like that too. But those are going to take a lot of time. Some of them will have to level up quite a bit to get to that. So I don't know where we also want to go afterwards. Like once we get to level 10 and we unlock other areas, where should we go other than recruiter? Or should we just keep with recruiter as our main thing? I'm not too sure. So there's that. Let's take a look at the recruiting board now, because this is going to be the most exciting thing about this episode, and that'll be it at that point. So according to the game right now, though, if we go to the prospect list, this is what we actually need. You can see all those red things on the very top. We do need 2 quarterbacks. That's our offensive targets. We also should get a halfback. We don't have any fullbacks, but we don't need them apparently right now. It says 0 out of 0 on a lot of these things, though, so I feel like we might need more than that, but maybe once I simulate a week, it'll actually adjust. But it says right now our offensive targets, though, should be quarterback, halfback, and guard. And then from a defensive standpoint, we should be looking into defensive tackles, offensive linebacks, cornerbacks, and safety. So we probably need pretty much a lot of everything. So I'll keep my face off the screen so you guys can kind of see this a little bit more because there's a lot of things going on the screen. If you guys have a good idea of where I could put my face cam for future episodes so it's not blocking things, let me know. Maybe there's a better area where I could put it, like maybe I should put it in the lower left corner, something like that. But anyways, let's go through this a little bit just to see what there is out there. So we'll start off by looking at quarterbacks here. And obviously, we're not going to be able to bring in the high-end talent, but we could probably go for the 2-star guys still, too. I would assume these are probably... Wait, these are the recommended ones for us. If we just go to top prospects, is there more than 2 stars? Oh, yeah, there is. But we're not going to be able to get these type of 4-star type of players. There's just no way possible with how our team is. So we'll just keep it on the recommended tab. I feel like that's probably the best play. Obviously, we could change it so we could just look at all of them all together and see if we could land a 3-star target. But likely with our school, we probably could only get 2-star and below, my guess. So we probably don't want to be throwing our name into the hat for a super good player. But anyways, we need 2 quarterbacks. In terms of the top schools interested, let's see if there's anybody that has us interested as a top school already. I would assume probably not, considering how trash we are, but you never know. Let's see. Trying to see if we're in anybody's top 5. Obviously, some of these guys have already locked us out, though, because of the deal breakers, so we can't even go for them, which kind of sucks, but oh well. Trying to see if we're on anybody's list here, because that may be a good target for quarterback for next episode. So let's just try and see if there's anybody... Oh, somebody has us as number 5 right now, and it's pretty close in that race. So Terrell Lobato could be somebody we'd look into. He would be willing to probably come here. Obviously, it would take a lot of work still to try and get him to join this team. Obviously, we'd have to like scout him out and all that, see if he's actually good or not. But Terrell Lobato is probably somebody I'm going to already add on our target list. If you guys see anybody that I'm missing adding to our target list, let me know. But obviously early on here, I'm just going to add some people if they look intriguing. Like this guy, for instance, Eric Ellis, another 2-star guy, also has us on 4th. But whoever's in 1st right now, that P team, I don't know all these teams either. They have a little bit of a jump up on most teams, but we should be able to catch up with them over the next number of weeks to try and bring some of these guys in. Also, if you guys could let me know what some of these things like classes are. I know HS is high school, but what is a JUCO? What is a JUCO junior? I think there's also JUCO seniors maybe, but I don't really understand what JUCO means. So, but if you could let me know on that, that would be very helpful. This guy also has us up there. This guy's got athletic as his position, which means I think he could play any position really. So we could definitely add him to our target list too. I think that's what athletic means. I could be wrong with that. I think he's an athlete. He could do a lot of different things. Anybody else in terms of quarterbacks? There's this guy, Tabor. Once we get through to 2 stars, then we'll probably look at halfbacks as well and stuff. Looks like a lot of 2-star quarterbacks are there that actually have us on the list. So we should be able to find our quarterbacks easily this year, I think. Ooh, this guy has us a 2nd. That's nice. Okay, so there's definitely a lot of quarterback options for us. I'm not going to go through the 1-star yet, but we definitely will go through the 1-star in probably the next episode, just because obviously we're going to have to make sure we get ourselves 2 quarterbacks. But right now we have 8 of them on our target list for the time being. In terms of halfbacks, it says we need 1, so we don't really need this position too much, but obviously getting 1 would be nice. So let's see if there's anybody that has us in their top schools as well, similar to what we did with the quarterbacks, just to make it a bit easier. Because I feel like if they actually already have us in the top 5 schools, then it's helpful and it's easier to get those guys than it is if they're not in our we're not in their top 5 schools. At least at the moment. We could definitely still get into some of these guys' top 5 schools, but it's more work, I feel like. So Darren Millard looks pretty good, I guess. I don't really know how good these guys actually are. They probably aren't that good overall-wise. They're probably like in their 60s, but obviously, we're just trying to find people to fill our roster for the next season after this upcoming season. DeAndre Buckhalter, interesting name. We'll add him as well since he's another 2-star recruit. Same with Dion Lemur. Anybody else have us high up? Manny Gibbs, we'll add you. Glenn Truen, we'll add you too. There's Coate, who's also an athlete. Yeah, John Coate, we'll put you on. Keep us warm. Deontay Labinho. We'll add you too. That's it for 2-star halfbacks. So Now we'll head on over to the guards, which is the OG, I think, is offensive guards we're looking for. Let's see. Hoff, Breeze doesn't have any interest in us. What about Wall? No. Melvin? Nope. Clinton? No. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people aren't super interested in the school, but it makes sense with how bad we are. But eventually we'll probably get the school better. Like, after 1 year, we should be improving this team a little bit, my guess. But depends on if we lose a bunch of people as well in the off year, because some people could transfer from your school too. So if you guys could let me know, with people transferring from your school to another school, do we have to give them a contract or something like that? Like, how does it work to try and keep them on your team? Or do you just lose them regardless? Because I don't know how that works. Spencer Heaney, we'll add you to our list for guards. Anybody else? This guy has us as his first best school, so Mitch Carswell, definitely somebody to look into, I think. There's also Barry Boast, or Bost, we'll add him too. There is Steve Maddox, and there is George Iwu. Okay, so that's 20 out of 35 targets. We got a couple areas left to look. We'll go to defensive tackle now. Couple 2-star guys. Oh, this guy already has us as a 5th one too, and he's technically the best defensive tackle potentially. Malik Provo. We'll definitely look into you. Anybody else? Ahmad Vick also has us up there, so that's good. John Cleveland. And Larry O does not. Parker Seelick. Terrence Bruce. No. Wait, did Terrence Bruce have us up there? No, I thought I saw us, but there's a lot of teams with similar colors, so it's a bit confusing at times. Vaughn Maljet is a 1-star, so we're not even going to look into him yet, but there's the 2-stars, so not a lot of decent defensive tackles, it seems like. Offensive linebacks, or is that what OLLB stands for? I know it's something lineback. I think it's offensive lineback, but it's on a defensive side, so it doesn't really make sense, but I could be wrong. Bridge, no. Cuero, Jarrell, Cross, no. Winicky. There's so many interesting generated names in this game compared to other games I've played. So some of them it's hard to pronounce. Like Zentner. Taylor Zentner, will add you. Smith, no. Coates. Another coat. Yeah, there's a coat and a coat. So we could literally make ourselves an extra warm team with all the coats. Best, Bruggs, Jervy, we'll add you since you're still 2-star. Flanagan, no. Board, yes, you could be added to our board. Of course. Bowers has this as a first school, okay. Obviously, some of the races we're going to have to get into is first. Some of these prospects are going to be pretty tight. Damn, we're almost at the max amount already of people on our target list, so maybe we should start going to the others. How many more 2-star recruits is there? Not a lot, but let's gonna go to cornerback. So we'll look a little bit more in OLBs in the next episode, I guess. But cornerbacks, let's see what we got here, so we could add at least a couple to our list. Like, we only have 6 more spots available, so we will add probably 3 here. So we'll get Kevin Lett. Anybody else we'll add to this though? Hey, there's a guy with the last name Trahan. Makes me think of Ryan Trahan. There's Gotsis. Yeah, Frank, will add you. Beavers, no. Melvin, yeah, we'll add Melvin. Okay, so that's 3 for there, and we'll also do 3 for safety. Or yeah, 3 for safety might not be what we need to do, but there's actually not a lot of safeties that are 2-stars, so we'll add Bryce Clapp. We'll add Jamal Cormier. And we will not add another one, I guess. So we could go back to offensive lineback and add one more to our list. So we got to go back down here past all the ones that we already targeted. So we'll go back here and we'll add this dude, Casey Tolzian. So now if we go back here, actually let's go back to a recruiting board. We have a lot of people that we could look into here that have some interest already in us. And we could start scouting them out already in the next episode. I technically get scout out some of them right now, but I don't want to risk scouting out somebody that we don't really want. So But there's a lot of people on our list. Obviously, we'll remove people from our list eventually, but a lot of stuff we got to do in terms of bringing these guys in. If you guys never played this game before, you have 375 hours, as you can see in the top as well. We could offer scholarship right away, which obviously not a great idea, but you have add action where you could do stuff like search social media and stuff like that for the player. So obviously that will help you get more information on that player and also help you get that interest from that player. In terms of scouting, see, you could go here and basically scout for 10 hours as well, just to find out information on the player. So I don't know which area we want to prioritize the most in terms of being in prospects, but obviously those areas that were red were the areas we needed to the most. So we could probably, with 375 hours, we could definitely look into player on each position, maybe multiple players on each position, but I'm not too sure which area should be the first one we'd look into. So obviously all of them are like 2-star prospects, so they're not crazy good, but it would make our team better than it currently is. Also, there's the transfer portal, which obviously is the stuff for the offseason. We're not going to have to worry about that right now, but there will be players transferring from schools. Our school ratings, in case you guys wanted to take a look at this, because I guess I didn't go really over this part. You can see currently our championship contender is F. Our program tradition is an F as well. Campus life cycle is a C-, so at least it's not terrible, I guess. Stadium atmosphere is not very good. Our brand exposure is not very good. We're actually got some okay coach prestige, I guess, compared to other things. Coach stability is not the best. Conference prestige is pretty bad. Academic prestige is terrible. And then our athletic facilities are also terrible. So I think eventually these get better as your team gets better, but right now we have some pretty bad ratings in a lot of areas. So hopefully we can get those things up there, because that will help us land bigger recruits in the future. And what is top classes? Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, once you start actually getting people committing to your school, you'll have this like giant list nationally of where you are in terms of the recruiting things. So hopefully we can recruit a lot of bodies to this team that we need. But I don't think we're going to recruit as much as like some of the high-end teams, of course. So there's that. I think that's pretty much it. If there's anything else I should be taking a look at consistently, like I know these are obviously stat-related and award-related, coach stuff more here. Like we do have schemes and playbooks. We could edit this stuff still. So if you guys think I should edit that, let me know. And then I think that's almost it. Like I still don't know what a red shirt is. Please let me know. Formation subs, like I don't know what that really means. I guess that's just... yeah, I don't really know what this is. I don't even know if I want to look at it. It looks overwhelming, to be honest. You have career stats and all that stuff, records, trophy room, and in our stats, our settings for this Dynasty mode as well. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Akron Zips and CFB franchise mode, or whatever you want to call it, Dynasty mode. I'm very excited to start the series. I honestly don't know what to make of it right now. I'm excited just to see how we're going to start bringing in recruits. Like once we start bringing in recruits and having people play on this team that we picked up, I think it's going to be exciting. Aside from that, I don't really know how the series is going to go, but excited to try out a new game. And thank you once again to EA for giving me a code, because or else I would have probably not been able to buy this game and all that and test it out on my channel. So, let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next time.